Now, a player I want to talk to you about that's real interesting because his injury kind of prevented many from scouting him his last season at Michigan, and that's cornerback Will Johnson. You saw what he was able to do for a national contending team, a team that eventually won the national title. And Michigan players have been very much a team that's been scouted by Brad Holmes, being that their university very close to Allen Park. Brad Holmes can get out there and scout, and especially with the schedule that they had, they faced Texas, Oregon, and they faced the Ducks team that was really national title contenders, Texas, like I said. So there's some opportunities to scout Michigan players, Josiah Stewart, Kenneth Grant, and then as well to see national highly ranked prospects. But you look at Will Johnson, and it kind of look. You don't want to say he went into business for himself, but for whatever reason, his injury did lag throughout the entire 2024 season. You didn't get a chance to see the full capabilities. And then his workout still hasn't done a 40. Many draft analysts say, look, he's got NFL speed, but he's not going to go put it on tape, his 40-yard dash. But you see that he's going to, early this week, he's going to work out for probably all the NFL teams at a centralized location, and he'll get a chance to showcase his skills. What do you think about Will Johnson, the cornerback? Could he be a fit if the Lions were to come knocking for his services? Do you think he's going to project well to be a pro from what you're reading?
He's interesting. Will Johnson is very, very, very interesting, almost polarizing because he did have a really good sophomore year for the Wolverines the year they won the national title. But then this past year, it was just like he would just have weird like blips in coverage where he's getting beat. And I mean, you would just turn on the tape and you watch him a little bit and you'd see the wow factor. Don't get me wrong. Like the pick six against Fresno. I believe he had a pick six against USC or had a big play in that game. And you're just like, wow, like this is the star power. This is the guy that everybody thinks is going to be a top 10 pick. But then he's also like getting toasted in coverage. And so there's things that would just make it, and like, am I watching the same player? Like that's the kind of stuff that I would come away watching when I would watch Will Johnson. Then obviously the injury happened and he was kind of, obviously that just lingered and didn't go away. So he is one of the more polarizing guys. And I do think that the upside with Will Johnson is like that elite corner, that shutdown guy. And at his best, he is no doubt a top 10 pick. But does he have enough in the tank? And is the injury playing a factor in this? Like, is the injury worse than we've learned about, or is there something that's nagging at him that is preventing him from being at his best? So I do think Will Johnson is going to be off the board by the Lions pick at 28. I think that somewhere in that 15 to 20 range, somebody's going to see him available and bet on him. And they should, because like I said, at his best, he is very, very talented. And I would like to see that happen, as a local guy from Michigan. So, hopefully it all pans out for Will Johnson. I do think that there's high upside there, but just kind of an odd 2024 year. And hopefully we can look back on that at some point in the future and just say it was a misnomer because, he's got all the talent necessary to be a star in the NFL. There's just some things holding him back right now.
All right, yes or no? If the Lions call his name, you think he'll be an asset for the Lions organization?
Yeah, I mean they've stacked up on the cornerback depth, like I mentioned, and so I personally think that's a position they would go to later in the draft. But I mean, if he's sitting there, and the Lions have always said it, they're going to take the best football players, and because of that, I wouldn't be surprised, if it's a guy like Will Johnson. He's a very rangy, athletic, fluid. He's got good top speed on there, and we've seen that when he intercepts the ball and runs it 80-something yards for a touchdown against Fresno in week 1. Really good instincts, and he doesn't seem like he's afraid to tackle and mix it up. So I would be intrigued by the fit. I do think that there's a lot to like about his potential fit in Detroit. I'm not sure if that's where the Lions should push all their assets in the first round. I think that, we've kind of identified their positions of need, but at the same time, Brad Holmes is known for throwing curveballs every once in a while.